Police chief in the town. So the question is, should these parents face criminal charges? We're talking to trial attorney Andrew Smiley, who specializes in wrongful death cases, and criminal defense attorney Tom McCain is with us as well. Andrew, let's start with you. Should they face charges? Did they ultimately kill this child by not treating a disease that could have been treated?
Absolutely. Not only should they be charged, they should be tarred and feathered in public for what they did to this poor girl. An 11-year-old girl who could have easily been treated died before her parents' eyes. She was sick, she was vomiting, and this isn't a little infant that you don't know what's going on from cries. This is an 11-year-old who is literally dying in front of her parents' eyes. They didn't seek any medical help. They didn't try and get her any medical attention. They sat and prayed. This would be no different than if their child was drowning in a pool and they sat around the pool and prayed, hoping the child wouldn't drown.
What kind of charges would we be looking at, Andrew, if there are any?
Well, usually, I believe the technical term would be reckless endangerment for what they did to this child. But that would be up for the prosecution to decide. There is a litany of charges from any type of manslaughter, homicide, reckless endangerment. There are various charges that could be levied against these people, but they must be charged. A message has to be sent to parents that you can't sit around and pray and let your child die in front of you without doing what needs to be done to get them help.
Tom, why shouldn't they be charged? The investigators in this case said they hadn't taken her to see a doctor since she was 3. She was 11.
This is so wrong-headed, the notion we're going to criminalize everything. These are not people who are doctors who know what's going to happen. You know, are we going to also charge the other 3 children who were in the house as conspirators for this? I mean, it's crazy to go criminalize. These people have suffered the death of a child. Nobody is saying that it was their intent that this happened.
But they knew, according to investigators, they saw it happening.
Ignorance? I mean, the worst thing you can say is these people were ignorant.
Well, they are ignorant, and ignorant, as you know, Tom, is not a defense to committing a crime. And yes, when you are a parent, you are charged with the obligation of making sure that your children are well cared for, that they get the medical treatment that they can get, because they're not old enough to take care of it themselves. And yes, it should be criminalized. You're going to put
all the burden on people who are ill-equipped to handle it. You've got a situation here where none of the social service agencies, this child wasn't in school. The only reason anybody came to the house to check on them was because a relative called.
Right, they could have called 911. This isn't because they didn't have health insurance.
People, and that's wrong.
Tom, one last question for you, though. According to authorities, they weren't part of an organized religion. The police chief described it as they had a couple of people that were in a prayer group with them. Does that weaken their defense?
I don't think at all. I mean, you're dealing with people who were cut off from society, who are ignorant. And, you know, yes, it's a tragedy what happened, but it's not, let's not criminalize everything. The idea we're going to send a message to whom? These people wouldn't have gotten that message. So to send the message, you're going to send the message to people who already know.
Well, this is a public story. You're sending a message to parents around the country saying, listen, if your child is sick, you have to get that child medical care. You can't sit there and hold hands and pray and think it's all going to go away.
But the message is that this child died.
Exactly.
You don't need to punish them any further than that.
Tom McCain,
the message has gotten across.
Tom McCain, Andrew Smiley, we're going to have to leave it there. Just one postscript, too. At this point, it sounds like authorities are saying they're not taking, there are 3 other kids in that home who are older, between 13 and 16. At this point, they're not taking them out of the home.
And that's a mistake, too.
According to the police chief saying there's no evidence of abuse. So
that's a mistake. They should have somebody, they should have at least a monitor placed in the home to make sure that these children are being properly cared for under these circumstances.
More to come. Andrew, Tom, thanks.